My 85 Yamaha Maxim 700, the air-cooled XJ700 that I have. Acquired this from the original owner that lived up in the Chicago area, and wasn't running real well when I got it, particularly idle. And later I found that it had jetting for when he lived in Utah. He purchased it new, I think in 87 or 88 as a leftover model, and got it running really well now. It's in pretty much original condition. Doesn't have anything aftermarket on it. Original exhaust, turn signals, all the controls, even the grips are original. Paint looks good on the frame as well. I mean, it does have, you know, signs of age. It's got a dent in the tank right there. As you can see, it's got some spots where it's had dings, all that kind of stuff. But overall, I think it's in good shape. The instruments look nice. All the chrome looks good. Had quite a bit of surface rust on the headers. You can see on that number 2 pipe, I still have some work to do there, but they've cleaned up pretty good. Has all the deterioration on the side covers that you see on these Japanese bikes from this era. Plan on refinishing those over the winter. Let's see. I ended up totally rebuilding the carbs. I found that the jetting wasn't correct, and it also had some leaking butterfly shaft seals. So I have all new jets in it, new float needles and seats. Got new port covers, vacuum port covers for the manifolds. I ended up, while I had the carbs off, I took the cam cover off and refinished it, polished the heat sinks. That turned out really nice. It was pretty ratty looking before. Had a lot of peeling paint and that sort of thing. Here's a shot of the side covers and generator cover. Those could look better, so I'll address those as well over the winter time. Put a new rubber on the shifter. The original one had some damage to it, so that was a cheap fix. But yeah, the exhaust looks really nice, really. I ended up, the original owner sent me all the service records from over the years. He had pretty much all the service done at dealers or bike shops. And having perused through those, I saw no mention of the drive shaft oil or the fork oil ever being changed. And so I changed those. I'm glad I did, because it was really, really black. And the fork damp's much nicer now that it's got fresh oil in it. I believe it could possibly be, he did have some brake service, new pads and that sort of thing, but I saw no mention in the service records of the brake fluid ever being changed. I'm willing to bet that's probably the original brake fluid. I say that because this cap doesn't look like it's ever been touched. You guys know how soft these screws are, and most people round those out because they don't use an impact driver to take them out or have the right JIS tips for them. So I'll probably address that over the winter. Probably go through the master cylinder, maybe get a rebuild kit. Same thing on the calipers. I've been kind of working on the wheels, getting those polished back up. I started on the rear wheel. You can see there's a little spot there that I've worked on, and that's all I've done. I'll probably address the drum brake cover whenever I have the rear wheel off at some point. But one thing I do wish this bike had is a windshield, so I'm researching for some good windshields to put on that. It needs to be the type where the mounts come around here and totally missed the gauge cluster. So I'm trying to find something there. But I always wanted a Maxim. I really like the Maxim X, but I like the simplicity of the air-cooled engine, and really liking it so far. Got the carbs nice and synced, and I believe I'm sitting at 3 turns out on the pilot mixture screws right now. It seems to be happiest there. Oops, sorry about blocking that. Let me go ahead and fire it up. The self-canceling turn signals work well. I always thought that was neat. I have an 84 RZ350 too, and it has the same thing, although I think it works a little bit differently than this bike does. But yeah, all the controls look good. I've lubed all the cables. This throttle grip was pretty nasty. I took the throttle tube off, and there was a lot of residue inside the tube and on the handlebar itself, so I cleaned all that off with some denatured alcohol and put like a Teflon based lube on there so it operates nice and free now, as does the clutch. Clutch is really light on this bike, but yeah, really liking this. Like I said, it's, you know, paint's okay. I do like that it has this nice mid-back backrest on it. Seat's very comfortable. Could log a lot of miles on this. One other thing I had a problem with was the original vacuum-operated petcock was prime didn't seem to be working right, and I had a bunch of air in my fuel line. In fact, when it was running in the on position, you would see the fuel level way down. It would actually disappear. And I noticed riding at like interstate speeds, it seemed to be starved for fuel. So I picked up this just manual petcock from XJ700N, and it came with the block off cap. That would normally be where the vacuum tube would go for the vacuum operated petcock that was original. And I took the stay on the carb hat for routing the fuel hose and the one for the vacuum hose totally off. I was also missing some of the lock washers for the carb hat screws. I kept finding a couple of them would loosen up, and so I've corrected that as well. But overall, I'm really happy. The boots are good. I didn't find any vacuum leaks there. Engine's cleaned up pretty nice. But, you know, it shows its age. But overall, I think it's in really good shape. So I'm really happy with it. Anyway, just let you guys would like to check it out. Thanks.